On my 18th birthday, my parents hosted a massive party. But it wasn't for me. My sister declared she wanted to celebrate her 18th again, and they let her hijack the whole thing. I stormed out mid-party and never looked back. A year later, she couldn't stand seeing how far I'd come without them. And his jealous meltdown ripped the family apart. The balloons were pink. My favorite color is blue. That night, standing in my family home, staring at decorations that screamed everything about my older sister Ashley and nothing about me, I felt something in my chest crack. My entire future, the one I'd planned since I was 15, was about to be obliterated by a single, crushing lie. The air was thick with the cloying scent of lilies and fake cheer. A banner stretched across the living room, "Happy 18th birthday" in glittering letters, but the photos beneath it were all of Ashley, her face blown up like some kind of shrine. It was June 15th, and it was supposed to be my 18th birthday. My mother had promised we'd go big, that this milestone mattered, that I deserved something special after a childhood spent watching Ashley soak up attention. Surprise! Mom chirped, but her eyes were fixed on Ashley, who was already draped in a birthday queen sash, in a dress that probably cost more than my entire wardrobe. My voice came out tiny. "What's going on?" Dad, ever the diplomat, put a hand on my shoulder, that practiced smile in place. "Well, Sarah, your sister had this wonderful idea. Since her 18th, 2 years ago, felt rushed with college applications, she thought a do-over celebration would be fun. Creative, right? Creative?" The word ricocheted inside my skull. On my actual birthday. Ashley just shrugged. "Come on, Sarah. Don't be selfish. You'll have other birthdays. Besides, I already invited everyone and planned everything." Mom and Dad agreed it made sense to combine celebrations. More efficient. She twirled, and a smattering of polite claps came from relatives I hadn't even noticed. Then Aunt Christina emerged with a massive cake. 2 tiers, fondant roses, elegant piping, "Happy 18th, Ashley." No mention of my name. Just this custom-ordered monument to her ego. "We thought you'd be happy to share," Mom said, adjusting a sagging pink balloon. "Family is about compromise, sweetie." Compromise. That word had haunted my childhood. Compromise when Ashley needed a bigger room for her clothes. Compromise when she demanded beach resorts instead of the mountains I loved. Compromise when my middle school graduation was cut short for her college orientation. Ashley's college friends, her boyfriend Ethan, her sorority sisters, they poured in. Gifts wrapped in expensive paper, bottles of wine, even though I couldn't legally drink. They brought enough attention to feed Ashley's ego for months. My best friend, Chloe, arrived around 7. She took one look at the circus and found me hiding in the downstairs bathroom. She didn't say anything, just sat on the tub's edge while I stared at my reflection, trying to remember what I'd looked like before disappointment had etched itself onto my face. "You okay?" she finally whispered. "There's not a single blue decoration out there." She knows blue is my color. She knows. My knuckles went white gripping the sink. Chloe pulled out her phone. "My brother, Liam, has people over at his apartment. He said you're welcome anytime. We could go there. This is my house. My birthday." "I know," Chloe said, her voice heavy with 16 years of friendship. "But staying here is just going to hurt more." She was right, but I couldn't move. A part of me still hoped someone would notice. Dad would shut it down. Mom would remember her second daughter. Ashley would find some empathy. The bathroom door burst open. Ashley, mascara perfect, smile sharp as glass. "Seriously, Sarah? You're hiding during my party? Can you at least try to be supportive? God, you're so dramatic." "Your party?" The words were flat. "Today is October 12th, my birthday. Our party, whatever. Stop being difficult. Ethan's cousin asked about you." I told him you'd come say hi. He's single, kind of cute, perfect for you since you never meet anyone. She left the door open, her laughter trailing behind her as she joined someone talking about my moods. Chloe looked at me with those eyes that had seen every slight, every forgotten recital, every time I'd been asked to step aside. Let's go, I said. We walked out the side door. Nobody noticed. The party continued. I sat in Chloe's car as she drove us across town. Something fundamental shifted inside me. Not heartbreak, I'd expected that. Something colder, clearer. Determination. Chloe's brother, Liam, had graduated from Central University 2 years earlier and worked as a software developer. His apartment complex had a rooftop deck. That's where I spent my 18th birthday, surrounded by people I barely knew, but who at least acknowledged my existence. Liam's roommate found a grocery store sheet cake. They sang happy birthday off-key. To Sarah, Liam said, raising a beer. And to families who don't deserve her. I slept on Chloe's couch. My phone exploded with messages around 11 p.m. Mom asking where I'd gone. Dad saying I was immature. Ashley sending a paragraph about how I'd ruined her special night. Not a single apology. The next morning, I went home to pack. Mom was cleaning up party debris, pink streamers overflowing the trash. We need to talk about last night, she started. You embarrassed us, Sarah. Guests were here. Do you know how that looked? Did anyone even notice I was gone? I pulled my suitcase from the hall closet. Where do you think you're going? You can't just run away because you didn't get your way. I'm going to Central University a semester early. They have a spring enrollment program. I already got accepted. The lie came easily. I hadn't applied yet, but the plan was forming. Mom's face cycled through expressions, landing on exasperation. You can't make decisions like this without discussing it with your father and me. College is expensive. We haven't budgeted. Ashley's college fund, I interrupted. The one Grandma set up before she died. There were 2, right? One for each of us. I'll use mine. Guilt, or maybe calculation, flickered in Mom's eyes. That money is complicated. Your father and I borrowed from your fund when Ashley needed extra for her sorority and that semester abroad. We were going to pay it back. The floor dropped out from under me. You spent my college money on Ashley's social life. It was an investment in her future. Networking matters. Those opportunities don't come cheap. You'll understand when you're older. Besides, we were planning to take out loans for you, so it all evens out. It didn't even out. Nothing about my life had ever evened out. I walked past her, upstairs, and started throwing clothes into my suitcase. Mom followed, talking about responsibility, family loyalty, overreacting. Dad appeared. What's all the noise about? Your daughter is having a tantrum, Mom said. Your wife stole my college fund, I replied. The argument was loud, full of justifications. Ashley joined, somehow making herself the victim, crying about not knowing they'd borrowed from my fund. She was always so good at that, making herself innocent while everyone else fought for moral high ground. I left that afternoon with 2 suitcases, my laptop, and $600 from my bookstore job. Chloe's mom, Eleanor, said I could stay with them. My parents didn't try very hard to stop me. The first week was survival. Extra shifts at the bookstore, scholarship applications, researching options. My grades were strong, 3.8 GPA, solid test scores, leadership in clubs. I had options, but no money. Eleanor was everything my mother wasn't. She asked how I was feeling. She made space for me without making me feel like a burden. She helped me understand financial aid, connected me with a college admissions counselor friend. You're almost 19, Eleanor said, watching me fill out applications. You can apply for financial aid, and with your academic record, you'll likely get scholarships. It won't be easy, but it's possible. My parents still claim me on their taxes. Won't that affect things? It will for now. But document everything, that you're not living at home, that they're not supporting you. Some schools have dependency override processes. Talk to financial aid offices. Over the next few months, I applied to 7 universities, all with strong financial aid programs. I wrote essays about resilience and independence. Teachers who'd watched me excel despite a difficult home life wrote recommendations. My parents called occasionally. Dad, with his reasonable tone, wanting to work through this as a family. Mom, with her guilt trips about my breaking her heart. Ashley's text swung from apologetic to accusatory. I didn't respond. They'd shown me where I ranked. By December, acceptance letters arrived. Central University offered admission for the fall with a partial scholarship. 2 others gave similar packages. But the best offer came from Canyonwood University, a full tuition academic merit scholarship, plus a housing grant. I accepted in January. Canyonwood was 4 hours from home, far enough for freedom, close enough for a statement. I spent 8 months working every shift, taking online community college courses, raising my test scores, applying for every scholarship imaginable. By May, I had enough funding for books, supplies, incidentals. Summer blurred. Thrift store dorm supplies, researching professors, connecting with roommates. Chloe helped me pack. Eleanor threw a small going-away party. You did this, Eleanor said, hugging me. Nobody handed you this opportunity. You earned every bit of it. I moved into my dorm in mid-August. The campus was beautiful. Everything felt possible. I threw myself into classes, psychology major, business minor. Joined clubs, volunteered. My professors noticed. By October, I was invited to a research team studying family dynamics. Chloe visited twice. She brought news I hadn't asked for but appreciated. Ashley had dropped out of her sorority after drama with Ethan. Mom started a book club, mostly complaining about her abandoning daughter. Dad had gone quiet. They ask about you, Chloe said over coffee. Your mom especially. I think she's starting to realize. Starting to realize? It's been 5 months. I know. Just telling you what I see. Chloe stirred her sugar. Your dad drove past the bookstore the other day. Sat in his car for 20 minutes, staring. Did he come in? No. Part of me hoped he would. Part of me was glad he hadn't. First semester, 3.9 GPA, Dean's List. I picked up a work-study at campus admissions. Straightforward work, better pay, good for a resume. Spring semester brought more classes, research, and distance from my family. I made friends who didn't know my history, who saw me as just Sarah. Then I met Daniel. He was a graduate student researching family systems and emotional neglect. We met at a campus lecture in March. Talked for 3 hours. He had a way of listening that made you feel heard. So, you're basically estranged from your family over a birthday party? He asked over tie. Over 18 years of being second best, and a birthday party that confirmed it, I corrected. Fair distinction. He smiled, and something in my chest loosened. You're handling it better than most people would. How do you know I'm handling it well? Maybe I'm a disaster behind closed doors. Are you? He was genuine. No. I'm angry, and I probably will be for a long time. But I'm also happier than I've been in years. Is that weird? Not even a little bit. Sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is walk away from people who refuse to see your value. We started dating in April. Easy comfort. He got it. His own family lived in Colorado. He understood building a life separate from where you were raised. I stayed on campus that summer. Extra work study, online classes to get ahead. Daniel was around, working on research. We spent long evenings together. By summer's end, I was on track for early graduation. Then Ashley found me on social media. My profiles were private, but she made a fake account. I accepted without looking. Within hours, she'd scrolled through a year of my life. Dean's List certificates, photos with Daniel, trips to the coast, my apartment, scholarship announcements. Her message came at 2 a.m, must be nice to abandon your family and play pretend college student. Some of us have real responsibilities. I blocked her, but the damage was done. She knew where I was, what I was doing. Knowing Ashley, she wouldn't keep it to herself. A week later, Mom called from an unrecognized number. I answered. Sarah, thank God. We've been so worried. Ashley showed us your social media. We had no idea you were doing so well. We want to fix things. Please come home for Thanksgiving. We'll do it right this time, I promise. You want to fix things now that you've seen I'm successful without you? That's not fair. We've always wanted what's best for you. We made mistakes, but we're still your family. You can't just throw that away over hurt feelings. Hurt feelings? As if 18 months had been a minor disagreement. I don't think I'll be coming home for Thanksgiving, I said carefully. I have plans with that boyfriend Ashley found photos of. You barely know this boy. What if he's taking advantage of you? You should be with family during the holidays. Goodbye, Mom. I hung up, immediately called Daniel. He talked me down. We spent Thanksgiving with his research advisor and other grad students who weren't traveling home. One of the best holidays I'd ever had. Ashley wasn't done. She started commenting on mutual friends' posts, crafting a narrative. I was the selfish daughter who abandoned my family over nothing. She claimed I'd stolen money, that I'd always been jealous, and finally snapped when she tried to share my birthday. The stories were absurd, but enough people didn't know the truth. I lost a few casual high school acquaintances. Chloe's defense of me online sparked a family-wide argument, ending with 3 cousins blocking me. She's spiraling, Chloe video chatted. I ran into her at the grocery store. 10-minute rant about how you think you're better than everyone. It was scary. What did you say? That she needed therapy and maybe some self-awareness. Ethan was with her. Looked like he wanted to disappear into the cereal aisle. I should have felt vindicated, but I just felt tired. Ashley spent 2 years of college living the life she wanted, supported emotionally and financially. Now she was flailing, and somehow, that was my fault. December brought finals, snow, and a surprise package from Dad. A card with a $5,000 check. For your college expenses. I'm sorry we failed you. I hope someday you'll let me explain. I stared at it for 3 days before depositing it. The money helped, but it didn't fix anything. Apologies without changed behavior are just words. Dad was still married to Mom, still enabling Ashley's victim complex. Christmas with Daniel's advisor and her family. They treated me like I belonged. Too much ham, board games, terrible holiday movies. Perfect in its simplicity. New Year's Eve, I made a resolution. Stop waiting for my family to understand. They either got it or they didn't, but either way, I was moving forward. Sophomore spring, internship at a youth counseling center. Emotionally heavy, but rewarding. I saw myself in the teenagers who'd been overlooked, who'd learned to make themselves small. My supervisor, Dr. Evelyn Stone, became a mentor. She specialized in family systems therapy. You're good at this, she said after a tough session. Empathy from experience is valuable, but process your own stuff, too. This work will eat you alive if you're not careful. I started seeing Dr. Chen on campus. Patient, didn't push. Just created space to untangle 18 years of conditional love. Slowly, I separated what had been done to me from who I actually was. The anger didn't disappear, but it became something I could hold. By March of my sophomore year, Dean's List again, accepted into an accelerated grad program. My life had purpose, built on my terms. Then Ashley showed up. On campus, a Tuesday afternoon, outside the psychology building. She'd cut her hair, lost weight, dark circles under her eyes. "We need to talk," she said, like we'd seen each other yesterday. "How did you find me?" I asked around. "It's not that big of a campus." She shifted, looking younger than 20. "Can we get coffee? Please?" Against my better judgment, I agreed. We walked to the student union, found a back corner. "I'm failing out," Ashley said. 2 semesters of probation. They're kicking me out after this semester. Dad's furious. Mom won't stop crying. Everything's falling apart. I don't know what to do. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because you were right," she twisted her coffee cup. "About everything. Them treating you like you didn't matter. Me being selfish. All of it. I've watched you build this life without any of us. And it made me look at my own life. I don't actually have anything. No real friends, no purpose, no direction. Just parents who expected me to be perfect and a sister who was smart enough to leave. I wanted vindication. Instead, I just felt sad." "What do you want from me, Ashley?" "I don't know. Advice, forgiveness, a roadmap for how you did it." She laughed, bitterly. "How did you just walk away and be okay?" I wasn't okay. I was angry and scared and convinced I'd end up homeless. But I was also determined not to let what you all did define the rest of my life. I paused. And I had help. Real help, from people who didn't need me to be anything other than myself. I don't have that. You could. But it would require you to actually change, not just feel bad about yourself until Mom and Dad fix things, like they always do. Ashley flinched. "They can't fix this. Dad already said he's not paying for another semester unless I prove I'm serious. But I don't even know what I want to study. I just picked communications because it sounded easy." We talked for an hour. I didn't absolve her or promise to rebuild, but I gave her Dr. Chen's name, mentioned community college. She left looking slightly less lost, but I knew better than to expect real change. I told Daniel that night. "Do you think she'll actually do anything?" "Probably not. Ashley's great at the moment of realization, terrible at follow-through. She'll go home. Mom will comfort her. Dad will blame the school. She'll end up at some private college that costs twice as much." Cynical. Realistic, I closed my textbook. I spent 18 years watching this pattern. She creates chaos. They clean it up. Nothing fundamentally changes. I'm not getting pulled back into that. Good. You've built something real here. Don't let them take that. Summer after sophomore year, research position with Dr. Evelyn Stone. Collecting data on family therapy. My first real academic research. Loved it. But Ashley couldn't leave it alone. 2 weeks later, she was back. This time, she brought Mom. They ambushed me after my shift at the counseling center. I walked out to my car and found them leaning against it. "We need to have a family meeting," Mom announced, as if she had any authority over my schedule. "This arrangement has gone on long enough. It's time to work through it like adults. I have dinner plans." "Cancel them." Your family comes first, Sarah. Have you forgotten that entirely? Something in her tone triggered every defense mechanism I'd built. My family? You mean the people who spent my college fund on sorority dues and stole my 18th birthday? That family? We've apologized for that, Mom said, though I couldn't recall a single genuine apology. You need to learn forgiveness. Holding grudges is unhealthy. You know what else is unhealthy? Parents who pick favorites and then act shocked when the less favored child stops subjecting herself to mistreatment. Ashley stepped forward. Sarah, I told Mom about our conversation, about how you said I could change. I'm trying, okay? Community college for summer classes. I'm seeing a therapist. I'm doing exactly what you suggested. That's great, Ashley. Genuinely. But that doesn't mean I have to welcome you all back into my life just because you're finally experiencing consequences. Your father is heartbroken, Mom said, switching tactics. He blames himself. He's lost weight, can't sleep. Is that what you want? To destroy your family because you didn't get enough attention at one birthday party? The sheer reduction of my pain hit me like cold water. If Dad is heartbroken, he can call me himself. He has my number. But he won't. Because that would require him to actually take a stand instead of sending you two to guilt-trip me into compliance. We drove 3 hours to see you, Ashley said. Doesn't that mean anything? It means you're desperate for me to fix something you broke. And I won't do it. I'm not your emotional support system or your rehabilitation project. I pulled out my car keys. You need to move so I can leave. You've changed, Mom said, an accusation. This isn't the daughter I raised. You're right. The daughter you raised would have swallowed this down and apologized for making you drive 3 hours. She would have agreed to the family meeting and let you steamroll her boundaries. But that daughter doesn't exist anymore. You saw to that. I got in my car and drove away. They stood in the parking lot, looking shocked. My hands shook, adrenaline surging. But underneath was something solid. Pride, maybe. Or the satisfaction of finally saying what needed to be said. Daniel met me for dinner. He knew. They found you again. Mom and Ashley ambushed me. Demanded a family meeting. Said Dad's heartbroken. The usual manipulation. What did you say? Everything I should have said 2 years ago. I told them no. Clearly. Finally. How do you feel? Terrified and liberated in equal measure. He squeezed my hand. Sounds about right. The fallout was immediate. Mom called Dad, who finally called me. He sounded tired, defeated. He said he respected my boundaries, hoped I'd reconsider, that he loved me, was proud. Things that would have mattered more 17 months ago. Ashley sent texts, apologetic, then angry, then desperate. When I didn't respond, she posted on social media about how some people would rather throw away their family than admit they overreacted. Chloe screenshotted it, she's making herself look unhinged. Everyone who matters knows the truth. The people who mattered. That phrase stuck. I'd spent so much of my life trying to matter to people who couldn't see my value. Now I was surrounded by people who did. Daniel, Chloe, Eleanor, Dr. Evelyn Stone, my friends, my colleagues. These were the people who showed up without conditions. Why was I still letting my biological family occupy so much mental real estate? I made a decision, not to forgive them or write them off entirely, but to stop waiting. Stop waiting for the apology, for them to understand. Stop waiting for Ashley to change, for Mom to admit she was wrong, for Dad to stand up. I was done waiting. Finals came and went. Aced everything. 3.9 GPA. Continued research with Dr. Evelyn Stone. The work was challenging, sometimes heartbreaking, but confirmed I was meant to do this. July brought my 19th birthday. Daniel planned a small gathering. Dinner, homemade cake, people who wanted to be there. Chloe drove up. We stayed up late talking. I felt grateful. My biological family didn't reach out. The silence was answer enough. August, Chloe relayed news. Ashley had started community college, but was struggling with attendance. Mom joined a support group for parents of estranged children, learning all the wrong lessons. Dad started therapy, the most hopeful news. He asked about you, Chloe said. Asked if you were happy. I told him you were thriving. How did he respond? He smiled, but it was sad. Then he said, good. That's all I wanted for her. I filed it away. He'd failed me, but he'd also sent that check. Weak, but not cruel or oblivious. Maybe someday I'd talk to him. Not yet. Junior year. Counseling center work. Invitation to contribute research assistance to Dr. Evelyn Stone's paper on sibling dynamics. My name would be acknowledged, a first step towards an academic career. This is huge, Daniel said. Most undergrads don't even get acknowledged. Dr. Evelyn Stone did most of the work. Stop diminishing your accomplishments. You earned this. He was right. Downplaying success was a leftover coping mechanism. Unlearning it was hard. Semester progressed. GRE prep. Target schools for clinical psychology. Early October, everything exploded. Ashley had been building to a breakdown. She dropped out of community college after 2 weeks, broke up with Ethan, moved home. Spent most of her time scrolling my social media from fake accounts. Then she found out about the research acknowledgement. Dr. Evelyn Stone posted about the paper on the center's website, listing the research team, including undergraduate assistants. My name was there. Standard academic practice, nothing personal. Ashley saw it as a personal attack. Her email to the counseling center's general inbox was unhinged. Accused me of exploiting family trauma, misrepresenting childhood, demanded I be fired. Copied mom and relatives. Dr. Evelyn Stone called me into her office. My stomach dropped. We need to talk about this. She showed me the email. I'm not concerned about the accusations, they're baseless. But I am concerned about your safety. This reads like someone who is escalating. The email detailed every perceived slight, painted Ashley as the victim, threatened university administration. I'm so sorry, I said. This is my family drama affecting your workplace. I understand if you need to remove me from the acknowledgement. Absolutely not. Your work is excellent, and this email confirms what we study. People who benefit from dysfunctional family dynamics get very threatened when the scapegoat finds success. She closed her laptop. But we do need to document this in case she continues to escalate. Have you considered a restraining order? For an email? For a pattern of harassment over 2 years, social media stalking, showing up uninvited, now this. It's escalating, Sarah. I've seen this before. She was right. But a restraining order against my own sister felt like an uncrossable line. I'd think about it. That night, Mom called. Not blocked. I picked up without thinking. What have you done? She was crying, a manipulative cry. Ashley showed me this research paper. How could you exploit us? Do you know how humiliating this is? I'm contributing to an academic paper on sibling dynamics and family therapy. It doesn't mention our family by name. No identifying details. Everyone will know it's about us. You're making us look like terrible parents, airing our dirty laundry for your career. After everything we've sacrificed for you. What exactly did you sacrifice for me? Ashley's leftover attention, my college fund, my 18th birthday? We made mistakes, but we were doing our best. You're punishing us because we're not perfect. Do you know what it's like to have people ask me why my daughter won't speak to me? To explain that you just walked away? How do you explain it, Mom? Do you tell them what actually happened, or do you let them assume I'm just ungrateful? Silence. You are always difficult. Always so sensitive, taking everything personally. Ashley adapted. But you insisted on making everything about you. Something broke clean through. Not my heart, that had enough scar tissue. Something deeper. The last shred of hope that she'd ever understand. Don't call me again, I said quietly. Don't show up on campus. Don't send relatives to guilt trip me. I'm done, Mom. Completely done. You can't just abandon your family. Watch me. I hung up. Blocked her, Dad, Ashley, and 3 aunts. Daniel found me an hour later, staring at the wall. What happened? I told him about the call, Dr. Evelyn Stone's suggestion, feeling like I was drowning in expectations of family. Do you want to file for a restraining order? He asked gently. I want them to just leave me alone. To let me build my life without constantly dragging me back into their dysfunction. I looked up. Is that too much to ask? No. It's the bare minimum you deserve. We filed the next morning. It was awful. Detailing harassment, screenshots, explaining to a judge why my own sister felt dangerous. The judge granted a temporary order, scheduled a hearing. Ashley would be notified. I knew she'd have a meltdown. I didn't care. The meltdown came via Dad, on a work number. Sarah, please. You need to drop this. Do you understand what this is doing to your sister? She's barely functioning. Your mother is beside herself. Dad, Ashley sent an unhinged email to my workplace trying to get me fired. She stalked my social media for 2 years. Showed up on campus multiple times. What am I supposed to do? Just accept harassment because she's family? She's not well, Sarah. She needs help, not legal action. Can't you see how much she's struggling? I've been struggling since I was a kid, and none of you noticed because I didn't make it everyone else's problem. Ashley's mental health isn't my responsibility, especially when she's actively trying to harm me. You're tearing this family apart. The family was already broken, Dad. I'm just refusing to pretend anymore. I took a breath. I love you, but I can't sacrifice my safety and peace of mind for people who've never prioritized mine. If Ashley needs help, get her help. But leave me out of it. I hung up, blocked his work number. The hearing was late October. Daniel and Dr. Evelyn Stone were there. A lawyer from University Legal Services. Ashley arrived with Mom and Dad, and an expensive lawyer. Her lawyer argued she was trying to reconnect, that I was overreacting to unresolved childhood issues, painting me as vindictive. My lawyer presented the emails, social media evidence, Dr. Evelyn Stone's testimony. The judge reviewed everything. I've seen a lot of family cases, the judge said. And what I see here is a pattern of harassment disguised as concern. Miss Ashley Mitchell, you need to understand your sister has a right to establish boundaries. Violating those boundaries repeatedly, especially by contacting her workplace, constitutes harassment. I'm granting the restraining order for 1 year. You are to have no contact with Miss Sarah Mitchell, directly or through third parties. No social media, no emails, no showing up at her home, workplace, or school. If you violate this, you will face criminal penalties. Do you understand? Ashley burst into tears. Mom argued, was shut down. Dad looked defeated. As we left, Mom shouted, "You're destroying this family. I hope you're happy. I turned. For the first time, I felt nothing. No guilt, anger, or desperate hope. Just emptiness where that relationship used to be. I am happy, I said. That's what you've never been able to understand. The restraining order changed everything. I could exist without looking over my shoulder. Post on social media freely. Focus on school, work, building my life. GRE in December, 90th percentile. Grad school applications over winter break. The research paper submitted, my name in acknowledgements. Christmas with Daniel's family in Colorado. Warm, welcoming. His sister treated me like family. Hiking, board games, movies. Nobody weaponized love or kept score. Your family is nice, I told Daniel. They are. But not perfect. My dad can be controlling. My mom has anxiety. We just handle it differently. We talk. We apologize. We respect boundaries. He pulled me closer. That's the difference. Not perfection. Just basic respect. Basic respect. A simple concept my family never grasped. My 20th birthday in June. Dinner with Daniel and Chloe. Small cake. People who celebrated me without making it about themselves. Perfect. Spring semester brought news, Dad filed for divorce. Chloe called, unsure if I'd want to know. He told your mom he was done enabling her behavior. Apparently, the restraining order hearing was his breaking point. He saw how she treated you, realized she'd never change. How's he doing? He's staying with your uncle. Asked about you again. Wants to know if you'd be willing to talk someday. Maybe, I said. Someday, but not yet. I wasn't ready, but I left the door ajar. He'd failed me, but he'd also tried. And now, he was finally doing something courageous. Ashley violated the restraining order in April of my senior year. Another fake account, a long message about how I'd ruined her life. Zero awareness. I reported it. Formal warning, mandatory counseling. Mom blamed me. I graduated in May, 3 years after walking out of that 18th birthday party. Summa cum laude. Accepted into 3 grad psychology programs. Dr. Evelyn Stone offered me a paid research coordinator position. I was 21, clear career path, healthy relationship, chosen family, a future entirely mine. Graduation was bittersweet. Chloe and her family came. Daniel and his parents. Dr. Evelyn Stone. Eleanor brought blue flowers, hugged me tight. My biological family wasn't there. I'd sent Dad an invitation, but heard nothing. Chloe told me he'd wanted to come, but Mom threatened a scene. He chose to avoid conflict. It stung, but less. I'd learned to celebrate those who showed up. At Daniel's graduation party for me, Eleanor toasted to Sarah, who had the courage to walk away from people who couldn't see her value, and the strength to build a life that reflects who she really is. We're all so proud of you. I looked around at these people who chose me. This was family. Not by blood, but by choice, by showing up, by seeing me. Later that night, on our balcony, I thought about that pink balloon from 3 years ago. So small, yet the catalyst for everything. If I could tell 18-year-old me what was coming, the pain, loneliness, doubt, but also the freedom, growth, joy, would I? Would I warn her how hard it would be, or just say it would be worth it? I'd tell her what Eleanor said, you're going to find your people, the ones who see you. Hold on for that. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Congratulations on your graduation. I'm sorry I wasn't there. I'm proud of you. Love, Dad. I stared at it. The familiar TED to respond, to rebuild something with the one parent who seemed capable of growth. But I wasn't ready. Maybe someday. Not today. I deleted the message. Went inside. Daniel was sleeping. Our apartment was full of the life we'd built. Tomorrow, grad school orientation, new challenges, opportunities I'd earned. The girl who walked out of that pink balloon party was gone. In her place, someone stronger, who knew her worth, who refused crumbs when she deserved the whole cake. Sometimes, I still got angry thinking about what they'd taken. But more often, I felt grateful for what I'd taken back, my life, my future, my right to be seen, valued, celebrated. That was worth more than any birthday party could ever be. What would you have done if your parents had spent your college fund?